Okay, free agent companion tool, NFL fantasy football. What is free agent companion tool? Well, in a word, free agent companion tool is a very complex yet very easy to use program that will help you determine the most optimized starting lineup week in and week out. A starting lineup that will give you the best opportunity to win week in and week out. It uses a proprietary blend, a formula or algorithm, if you will, that takes into account player averages, strength of schedule, strength of opponent, statistics such as number of TDs per passing attempt, number of INTs per passing attempt, average receptions, number of yards per reception. The algorithm goes on and on. But basically, in a nutshell, the program prioritizes the algorithm and will put forward the best player that will give you the best opportunity to win week in and week out. Now, that said, we'll launch it and we'll show you that you can manage up to 4 fantasy teams. For those of you that are crazy about fantasy football, you can manage up to 4 teams pretty efficiently. You start right here, select your players. I will say for the purposes of this exercise that the statistics that are input into the program currently are from week 16 of the 2015 NFL season. The starting lineup was determined moving forward to give you the best players to start going into week 17 of the NFL fantasy football. So that said, we will start here. This is where you would begin, and you would repeat this for any number of teams or any number of leagues that you're already in. So you select your players here. This simple box pops up. The pull-down menu is sorted alphabetically by first name and grouped by position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. You get the idea. So we are going to take a look at our team number 1. So we can see we've got pretty much a fully populated team number 1 here. But to add, drop a player, it's very simple. We'll start right here with Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Let's say he got injured. You have to drop him. It's week 17. It's the last week. Who cares? So go in, drop him there, and then from here just select add another player and go in here, and let's just go with, say, Kirk Cousins. Add. Let's go view. So here we go. You can see Aaron Rodgers is out. Kirk Cousins is in. You can also manipulate their status here based on if the player is injured, suspended, or on a bye week. Now, the starting lineup will still include injured players into your starting lineup. So be very careful when you use this, because just because the player is injured does not necessarily mean he's not playing. They do still show them as injured, and the player will play. So be careful in using this. However, when you select suspended or bye week, no worries here. When you select your starting lineup, that player selected here will not be included in your starting lineup. And just quickly, we'll go in here and we'll show you that selecting these will give you a color visualization or a cue, a reminder to what's going on with that player. So you might know Kirk Cousins going into this game is starting, but he's injured. So keep that in mind when determining your starting lineup. Now, if he is suspended, you'll see here he will not be included in the starting lineup. And again, same with the bye week. Pretty simple. I'll exit out of here, and here now you can take a quick look at your team's scoring stats. These are, like I said earlier, the stats from week 16 of the 2015 NFL season, and the starting lineup was determined moving forward for week 17 of the 2015 NFL fantasy season. You can export this to Excel and do with this what you choose. Very simple. So let's get into the reason we're all here is to see what it is about this starting lineup. So based on the players I selected, you click Team 1 starting lineup. You can maximize the screen a little bit more. You'll see there's a legend at the bottom for determining QB, RB, WR, and T1, and number 2, and your flex options coincided by the colors over here. Oh, did we not choose? See what happened? I do believe I did not deselect Kirk Cousins. So let me exit out of here real quick. Let's go view Kirk Cousins. He is showing as a bye week, so he is not there. Can't be a bye week in week 16. All teams have already had their bye weeks. Actually, week 17. All right, let's come back. Here we go. There's Kirk Cousins. And here's our starting lineup. So that's it. Top down in order by position. You can see here Blake Bortles, Kirk Cousins. There's your starting quarterback. There's your RB1, RB2, WR1, WR2, tight end 1, tight end 2. Now, you don't have to just go with what the program states. You can dig a little deeper. This program is very complex, like I said at the beginning, and it provides a little bit more information than what you're seeing here. Now, if you are no fantasy expert and you don't want to get in deeper into the stats, just using the starting lineup as the program provides you is a very powerful tool. Now, past performance is no guarantee of future results, but I will tell you that doing it this way for me in the last 2 years resulted in approximately a 74% success rate. In 2 years, 7 teams, 4 league championships, 1 second place, and 1 third place finish with this one. The last team, basically, it was an NFL.com free league that everyone stopped playing after about week 10, so I dropped it and didn't finish. It can't be included here. So, but that being said, approximately about a 74% success rate. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen week in and week out. But if you could go into a bet or you could go into a game and you know you've got approximately a 74% chance of choosing the right lineup that gives you the best opportunity to win, I think this program is for you. It's for all of us. But if we want to get a little bit more in detail, you want to see, let's squeeze as much out of this as we can. We're week 16 going into week 17. Excuse me. So let's go to our quarterback stats. Let's look up Blake Bortles and Kirk Cousins. You'll see here that this is color-coded down to the 33rd player. It takes into account the top 33 players of quarterbacks in the league. But we're going to start by looking at Blake Bortles. These colors, orange, red, and green, help determine or help you at a quick glance see their matchup strength, the strength of the opponent that they're getting ready to play. Green is an easy opponent. Orange is a moderately difficult opponent. And red means a very tough opponent, which means they're probably going to be playing from behind quite a bit. So we look here and we see Blake Bortles and Kirk Cousins are ranked 14th and 15th in the league. Blake Bortles is facing a moderately difficult team, while Kirk Cousins is facing a very difficult challenge and probably a good chance they're going to be playing from behind. So what I would do on this is I might not stick with Blake Bortles as my starting quarterback. When I see red on this chart for a quarterback, any of these quarterbacks, and then followed by a number of green over here, I might go with that quarterback. What you're looking at here, Kirk Cousins facing a very difficult challenge. However, completing nearly 70% of his passes. He throws a touchdown for every 20 times he drops back. He throws a pick every 48 times he drops back, which is very good. At this point, week 16, he's already thrown for nearly 4,000 yards. He's getting 10 yards per completion. So His numbers are up there. Blake Bortles, a very good quarterback. I had him in a couple of leagues. He carried me pretty well. But he's completing 59% of his passes. He'd already thrown for 4,000 yards, but the hidden thing here is he had thrown 16 INTs compared to Kirk Cousins' 11 INTs. So Kirk Cousins, 48 dropbacks per INT. Blake Bortles, 35, getting a little bit low. He's throwing it now. The difference here is he is throwing a touchdown every 16 dropbacks. However, what I'm looking at is the number of consecutive green columns with a red column for a top 20 ranked quarterback, which means Kirk Cousins, I would have started him this week. Excuse me, over Blake Bortles, despite what the program says in starting him. Again, like I said, you don't know what's going to happen going into the game, and the best thing to do is to remove the human emotion from this and go with the players that the program is telling you to start if you don't know better. However, in this case, I've been using this program now for 2 years, and I want to squeeze every bit that I can out of these. So this particular week, I started Kirk Cousins and sat Blake Bortles. And we'll look here, fantasy stats, if I can find Kirk Cousins here. Here's Kirk Cousins in this week. Now these are the results of this is week 17. So what you see in the program here, these projections are how it tells you the players will perform. So Kirk Cousins, and I'm looking here now, he is facing a tough opponent and he's completing a high percentage of his passes. Both of these columns are both green, so that tells me that he could potentially light it up. So I would start him, even though this is red over here. That being said, the quarterback position is the only position you will consider starting a player if he's red here and he's got 3 consecutive greens. You'll see that a lot. Excuse me. So anyway, let's go back and look at Kirk Cousins. Where did he go? Kirk Cousins was ranked 14th, and in a standard league, he scored 20.8 points. You can see he did pretty well. 12 of 15, 176 yards, but he threw 3 touchdowns to no picks. So there's your points right there. Which, I mean, if you've got those 2 quarterbacks on your roster, you've put forward the best player that you had given you an opportunity to win. So let's go find Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles ranked 27th. Interesting. He threw 239 yards, so he threw for more yardage, but he also had 2 picks and wound up with 12 total points. So you can see the difference there. So like I said, 74% chance this week, had you chosen Blake Bortles as your starting quarterback over Kirk Cousins, you would have been crying, as you would have seen come Monday morning that Kirk Cousins outscored Blake Bortles by a pretty significant amount. Well, now that said, that's the only position you would do that for. And here you can look off to the right, your league ranking. You can see these are pretty obvious starters. But let's get down to the flex. You want to determine who the flex player is going to be. And keeping in mind, the flex player is not always going to be, by default, a running back. In this case, it's going to be a running back. I'll show you why. But there are times when the wide receiver is your better option at flex. But here, you want to take a look at this. We want to see the flex stats, and this is a combination of running backs and wide receivers here, sorted by their averages. But Latavius Murray and a flex, especially in PPR leagues, you want to see how many times does he put his hands on the ball? How many touches is he averaging per game? And at this point, it's safe to say, this is week 16, these averages are pretty solid. Latavius Murray's averaging 18.87 touches per game, whereas Randall Cobb, where's Randall Cobb go? Randall Cobb, right here, quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He's averaging towards the latter part of the year. Last year, Randall Cobb just kind of fell off the radar, didn't do much, but he was averaging 5 catches per game or 5 touches per game. So comparatively, he's not an option for WR1, WR2, but he was an option for a flex. You compare him to Latavius Murray, who's ranked much higher, gets many more touches. There's your obvious starter at flex. And so, in a nutshell, that is pretty much this program and how to use it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. There will be a contact us option available on the website beginning by week 1 of the 2016 NFL fantasy season. If you need any assistance at all or have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.